Give me something good. John Brockman. To John Brockman from Jeffrey Epstein. March 18th, 2014. Dinner lineup. Your Goyim dinner was amazing. Thank you very much for including me. Where are the Jews? I did my best with Katinka. I understand she is frightened. Kruger is no bullshit. Will help. He is not going to try to protect his ass. Here's where we are with the dinner, JB. John Brockman. I'm going to have to look that up. I don't know who that is. March 16th to the 18th, Vancouver Fairmount Waterfront Hotel. John Brockman. Confirmed to date. Nah, this is crazy. Nah, look at this though. This is crazy. This is 2014, okay? Confirmed to date at this specific dinner. Jeff Bezos, Sergey Brin, John Brockman, and Katinka Madsen, David Brooks, Jeffrey Epstein, Tony Fadell, and Daniel Lambert, Salar Kromangar, Yuri and Julia Milner, Larry and Lucy Page, Lori Park, Jean Pigozzi, Jackie Safra, Ricardo and Maria Lara Salinas, Charles and Lisa Simonier, Jeff Skoll, and Wakiki. Awaiting response, Paul Allen, Peter and Mabe Gabriel, Marissa Mayer and Zach Bogu, Elon and Dalule Musk, Pierre and Pam Omidyar, regrets. Bill Gates, Dean Kamen, Nathan Myhrvold, Tim O'Reilly, Nick Pritzker, Evan Williams. Oh, shit, bro. Yeah. I wasn't expecting to find this precisely. John Brockman. American literary agent and author. John Brockman is an American literary agent and author specializing in scientific literature. He established the Edge Foundation, on an online magazine exploring scientific and intellectual ideas. He's 85 years old. Spouse Katinka Matson. Edge.org. Opinion, Jeffrey Epstein's academic fixer. Party with a dozen-year-olds. I might hit the Wikipedia. John Brockman isn't okay. I might hit the Wikipedia real quick. John Brockman, born February 16th, 1941, is an American. That's what we just went under. Brockman, born to Austrian immigrants of Jewish descent, grew up in Dorchester, which was a poor Irish Catholic enclave in Boston, Massachusetts. His father was a broker in the wholesale flower market in Boston to hustle sales, expanding on C.P. Snow's two cultures. He introduced the third culture, consisting of those scientists and other thinkers in the empirical world who, through their work and expository writing, are taking the place of the traditional intellectual in rendering visible the deeper meanings of our lives, redefining who and what we are. Brockman attended Capson Institute, now Babson College, and earned an MBA from the Columbia Business School in 1963. Career: he led a scientific salon for 20 years, asking an annual question to host a host of renowned scientists and publishing their answers in book form, which he decided to symbolically close down in 2018. He is an editor of Edge.org. He represented many famous scientists, including Daniel Kahneman, Steven Pinker, and Richard Dawkins. Association with Jeffrey Epstein. Whoa, they got this in Wikipedia. In an interview with Prince Andrew on November 17, 2019, BBC reporter Emily Maitlis mentioned that both Andrew and John Brockman attended a dinner at child sex traffickers Jeffrey Epstein's mansion to celebrate Epstein's release from prison for charges which stemmed from at least 1 decade of child sex trafficking. Brockman's name was also found in Epstein's private jet log. Andrews' presence at Jeffrey Epstein's Manhattan mansion was corroborated by Brockman himself in emails published in an October 2019 New Republic report. The story suggested that Brockman was the intellectual enabler of Jeffrey Epstein, the financier who died in August 2019, allegedly, while again awaiting trial on charges related to sex trafficking. Brockman's literary dinners, held during the TED conference, were for a number of years after Epstein's conviction almost entirely funded by Epstein, as documented in his annual tax filings. This allowed Epstein to mingle with scientists, startup icons, and tech billionaires. Brockman, through dinners and salons hosted by the Edge Foundation, was also responsible for making the first introductions between Epstein and various scientists, including Seth Lloyd and Lisa Randall. Steven Pinker stated that he was convinced to fly on Epstein's private jet by Brockman. Yo! Yo! Crazy. That's all I have to say is crazy. Alright, who else was I looking up? What's his wife's name? It was Katinka. Let's look up Katinka. Katinka Madsen is an artist and a literary agent. She is president of Brockman Inc., a leading international literary agency, co-founder of the prestigious online salon Edge, the world's smartest website, The Guardian, and co-founder and director of EdgeFoundation.inc. I want to hit the Wikipedia on her, too. She ain't got one? Damn. Look at all these guys. Jean-Luc Brunel. Dude, it's all Epstein's circle. It's crazy to me, bro. Yo, it just runs way too deep. It runs way too deep for it to actually, why have there been no convictions? Obviously, when you corroborate with someone, you know at least what they're doing. Like, there's no way this was unbeknownst to anybody that was in this circle. All right. Jeff Bezos. We know Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos, founder of Amazon. Internet pioneer and founder of Amazon, the world's largest e-commerce company. A former Wall Street computer engineer, Bezos launched Amazon in 1994 to sell books online. He's known for his focus on customer service and long-term thinking. Bezos also founded the aerospace. Yeah, we know that. Which is crazy, bro. Lawrence Sanchez Bezos is so funny to me, too. Alright, let's move on. Sergey Brin. They must be listening to me. Sergey Mikhailovich Brin is a computer scientist and businessman who co-founded Google with Larry Page. Brin and his family immigrated from the Soviet Union to the United States in 1979. He met Page at Stanford University in 1995. Brin served as president of Google's parent company, Alphabet, Inc., until stepping down. Let's go into it a little bit more. Early life and education. Sergey was born into a Jewish family on August 21st, 1973, in Russian capital of Moscow. At the time, Russia, known as the Russian Soviet Federative Socialist Republic, was a constituent republic of the Soviet Union. Both Brin's parents, Mikhail and Eugenia Brin, had graduated from Moscow State University. His father was a retired mathematics professor at the University of Maryland, and his mother was a researcher at NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center. The Brin family lived in a 3-room apartment in central Moscow, which they also shared with Sergey's paternal grandmother. In 1977, after returning from the mathematics conference in Warsaw, Poland, Mikhail announced that because of anti-Semitism in the Soviet Union, it was time for the family to immigrate. They formally applied for their exit visa in September 1978, and as a result, his father was promptly fired for related reasons. Oh, no, sorry. For related reasons, his mother had to leave her job for the next 8 months without any steady income. They were forced to take on temporary jobs as they waited, afraid their request would be denied, as it was for many Urufusiniks. In May 1979, they were granted their official exit visas and were allowed to leave the country. Search engine development. Dude, and this is crazy. I'm not even going to get into some of my viewpoints, but it's a big enclave. It's a huge enclave. John Brockman and Katinka Matson, that's who we just looked up. David Brooks. Gotta hit the Wikipedia. Ugh. David Brooks, born August 11th, 1961, is a Canadian-born American book author and political and cultural commentator. Though he describes himself as a moderate Republican, others have characterized him as a centrist, moderate conservative, or conservative, based on his records as contributor to PBS NewsHour and as opinion columnist for the New York Times. In addition to his shorter-form writing, Brooks has authored 7 nonfiction books since 2000, 2 appearing from Simon & Schuster, and 5 from Random House, the latter including Social Animal, The Hidden Sources of Love, Character and Achievement, The Road to Character. Beginning as a police reporter in Chicago and as an intern at William F. Buckley's National Review, Brooks rose to his positions at New York Times, NPR, and PBS after a long series of other journalistic positions: film critic for the Washington Times, reporter and op-ed editor at the Wall Street Journal, senior editor at the Weekly Standard, and contributing editor at Newsweek and the Atlantic Monthly. Early life and education. Brooks was born in Toronto on August 11th, 1961, where his father was working as a PhD at the University of Toronto. Along with his brother Daniel, David spent his early years living in Stuyvesant housing in New York City. Their father taught English literature, while their mother studied 19th century British history at Columbia University. Brooks was raised Jewish, but barely attended synagogue in adulthood. Alright, I'm going to leave it there. Look at the dot, or the line between all the dots, connecting everything. I'm not even going to point it out. I'm not going to say it, because I'll be flagged for it. Jeffrey E., Tony Fidel, and Daniel Lambert. Tony Fidel? Was that right? Tony. Anthony Michael Fidel is an American engineer, designer, entrepreneur, and investor. He was senior vice president of the iPod division at Apple Inc. and founder and former CEO of Nest Labs. Fidel joined Apple Inc. in 2001 and oversaw all iPod hardware, software, and accessory development. I'm not even going to read the summary. Early life and education. Fidel was born on March 22nd, 1969 in Michigan to a Lebanese father and a Polish mother. Fidel is an alumnus of Grosse Pointe South High School in Grosse Pointe Farms, Michigan. He graduated from the University of Michigan with a Bachelor of Science degree in computer engineering. Let's see. Tony Fidel, the creator of the iPod and Nest, is of Lebanese American descent and is not Muslim. While some publications have grouped him with Muslim Americans due to his Arab heritage, his background is Christian. He was born in Michigan to a Lebanese American father and a Polish American mother. There you go. That's the outlier, which is crazy. Hey. There's such a thing as Christian Zionism as well. It's not a good thing, in my personal opinion. Daniel Lambert. Danielle. Tony. Anti-corporate strategy queen. Worcester, Massachusetts, United States founder and CEO. The Snout Group, Inc. I managed my family's independent veterinary practice for 5 years, and I spent over a decade advising veterinary brands ranging from big corporate groups. See, that's what I don't get. Anti-corporate strategy queen when she's also advising corporate groups. Does that make sense? And she's on edge.org. Isn't that fascinating? Former vice president of human resources at Apple Computer. See, I'm not even gonna speak. I'm not even gonna speak my truth. But a little bit fishy, you know? It's collusion right there. It's collusion. Solar Kamangar. Actually, you know what I'm gonna do? Raised Catholic, taught briefly, now deeply spiritual. Church corruption made me seek out angels, ancestors, Jesus. Solar Kamangar. Iranian executive and former CEO of YouTube. Solar Kamangar is an Iranian-born American senior executive at Google and former CEO of Google's YouTube brand. Early childhood and education. Born in Tehran, holds a bachelor degree in biological sciences with honors from Stanford University and was the 9th employee to join Google. He joined after graduating from Stanford in 1998. On October 29, 2010, it was announced that Solar S.K. Kamangar, who was in charge of the day-to-day activities, would replace Chad Hurley as CEO of YouTube. He was replaced as CEO of YouTube on February 5th, 2014. His successor at YouTube was Susan Wojcicki. I'm sorry, I'm butchering that. Before that, Kamangar created the company's first business plan and was responsible for its legal and finance functions. From there, he became a founding member of Google's product team, where he worked on consumer products, including the acquisition of Deja News, and the subsequent launch of Google Groups. That's fascinating. Yuri and Julia Milner. Yuri Milner, Israeli entrepreneur and investor. Yuri Borisovich Milner is a Soviet-born Israeli entrepreneur, investor, physicist, and scientist. He is a co-founder and former chairperson of internet company Mail.ru Group and a founder of investment firm DST Global. Born into a Jewish family on 11th November 1961 in Moscow, Yuri Milner was the second child of Soviet intellectuals. His father, Bentzian Zakharovich Milner, was chief deputy director at the Institute of Economics of the Russian Academy of Sciences and was active in management and organization. Betty Iosifovna, or is that an L? No, it's not. Iosifovna Milner, Yuri's mother, worked at Moscow's state-run virological laboratory for disease control. His older sister, 8 years his senior, is an architect. In 1985, he graduated from the Faculty of Physics of Lomonosov University. He then worked at Lebedev Physical Institute in the field of theoretical physics under the supervision of future Nobel laureate Vitaly Ginzburg. Milner became an Israeli citizen in 1999. In 2005, he moved to Israel with his family. They relocated to California in 2014. Milner has stated he has not been to Russia since the 2014 Russian annexation of the Crimea. In August 2022, he renounced his Russian citizenship, reportedly in response to the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Fascinating, don't you think? Julia Milner. I know it may seem strange, looking up their wives and whatnot. Biography: Julia is an award-winning practitioner and award-winning academic in the area of leadership development, coaching, and organizational well-being. She is a professor in leadership. You're fucking capping, though. That's not what I wanted to look up. This is what I wanted to look up. Minimally religiously observant. Larry and Lucy Page. American businessman and former CEO of Google. Look at him. Look at that. I'm sorry. I was mean. That was not very nice of me, but I crack myself up sometimes. So, Lawrence Edward Page was born on March 26, 1973 in Lansing, Michigan. His mother is Jewish. His maternal grandfather later immigrated to Israel through Page's household while growing up was secular. His father, Carl Victor Page Sr., earned a PhD in computer science from the University of Michigan. BBC reporter Will Schmeil described him as a pioneer in computer science and artificial intelligence. Page's paternal grandparents came from a Protestant background. Page's father was a computer science professor at Michigan State University, and his mother, Gloria, was an instructor in computer programming at Lyman Briggs College. At the same institution, Larry's parents divorced when he was 8 years old, but he maintained a good relationship both with his mother, Gloria, and his father's long-term partner and MSU professor, Joyce Wildenthal. Rest in peace. Lori Park. I'm gonna have to go to bed soon. Gotta go to work tomorrow. Yay, you know what I'm saying? Lori Park, artist. Who's Lori Park from Google? Lori Park is a software engineer at Google. First African. No, it's just not her. It don't really matter. See, edge.org, bro. And all these people are on edge.org. Like, you're kidding me, right? Collusion. Jean Pagossi. Italian photographer and fashion designer. Biography. Pagossi, French-born Italian. He was born in Paris in 1952 and is son of Henry Pagossi, industry captain of the head of the Simca automobile, created by Fiat. He studied at Harvard before working for the Gaumont Film Company and 20th Century Fox. Art collection, photography, fashion, television, publications, references. He should be Catholic, right? Granted, he's Italian. There's no public record of John Pagossi's religious affiliation. He is Italian businessman and art collector. Work should be fun and women dog. See, I'm gonna read this because it's bizarre. Okay, right? John Pagossi lives by 3 rules. Never go into the office before 12. Work should be fun, and women like to have sex. Like, come on now. Chill, brother. Gots to chill, my brother. It's not cool to say things like that, Jackie. Safra, was that right? Yep. That was right. Jackie Sofra, Swiss investor. Jackie Sofra is the son of Ali Sofra, 1922-1993, and his wife Yvette Daba, 1927 to 2006, and a nephew of Edmund Sofra. He is a graduate of the Wharton School of the University of Pennsylvania and worked in various positions at the Republic National Bank of New York. Some of Safra's investments include Encyclopedia Britannica Inc., Spring Mountain Vineyard, Parksania Hotel, and neighboring Garnish Island, both religious. Prominent Sephardic Jewish family originating from Aleppo, Syria, as a descendant of the Syrian Jewish Safra banking dynasty. He is recognized for holding a strong Jewish heritage and for his role as collector of significant Judaica manuscripts, including the Codex Sasson. See, that's a rare breed, too. There's many more Ashkenazi Jews than there are Sephardic Jews, which is weird. Because the Sephardic Jews, to me, are the originals, and Ashkenazi kind of adopted the principle of Judaism. It's fascinating, nonetheless. Let's move on. Ricardo and Maria Laura Salinas. Ricardo Salinas. Chairperson of Azteca. Ricardo, okay, we're gonna hit that. Got to. He's a Mexican business magnate, founder and chairman of Grupo Salinas, a corporate conglomerate with interests in telecommunications, media, finance, services, and retail. An outspoken supporter of monarchism and neoliberalism, he is the third richest person in Mexico and the 172nd richest person in the world, with an estimated net worth of $13.6 billion US in February 2021. He is the 7th wealthiest person in Latin America. And he should be, what, Catholic? Information regarding personal religion is not publicly disclosed. Some commentary, often critical, colloquial, suggests his primary focus is on business and wealthy accumulation, colloquially describing his approach as a religion of money. Whoa, this is crazy too, though. I was not expecting this, actually. Okay, ancestry. He comes from a family of Sephardic Jewish ancestry, though he does not publicly highlight this in religious terms. Yo, that's crazy to me, though. I just wasn't expecting it at all. No problem with it. I just was not expecting it at all. Maria Laura Salinas. Damn, she on edge.org too. That's the crazy thing to me, bro. To arrive at the edge of the world's knowledge, seek out the most complex and sophisticated minds, put them in a room together, and have them ask each other the questions they are asking themselves. Former National Sales Director of TV Azteca in Mexico. Mexico. Woo, woo. I'm sorry, I don't know why. I don't know where that came from. Charles and Lisa Simonyi. Charles Simonyi. He's on edge. The native form of this personal name, Simonyi Karoli, is the Western name. Okay. Charles Simonyi. Hungarian. Simonyi Karoli. Pronounced Simonyi Karoli. Yeah. Something like that. Born September 10th, 1948, is a Hungarian-American software architect, businessman, space tourist. He led the development of Microsoft's first application software, including early versions of Microsoft Office, and later co-founded Intentional Software, a company focused on his concept of intentional programming. Former researcher of Xerox PARC, he helped pioneer graphical user interfaces and introduced object-oriented programming and Hungarian notation to Microsoft. Simonyi flew to space twice as a private citizen, becoming the 5th space tourist and the only one to pay for 2 separate trips to the International Space Station. As of January 2025, his net worth was estimated at $7.5 billion US. Early life. Simonyi was born in Budapest, Hungary. His father, Karoli Simonyi, was a Kossuth Prize-winning professor of electrical engineering at the Technical University of Budapest and created the first Hungarian nuclear particle accelerator. While in secondary school, he worked part-time as a night watchman at a computer laboratory in the early 1960s, overseeing a large Soviet Ural II mainframe. He took an interest in computing and learned to program from one of the laboratory engineers. By the time he left school, he had learned to develop compilers and sold one of these to the government department. He presented a demonstration of his compiler to the members of a Danish computer trade delegation. In 2006, he said that when he was young, his dream was to get out of Hungary, go to the West, and be free. Career. Microsoft, intentional software, patents, philanthropy, political activity. Let's see philanthropy. 1995, someone at Oxford for some. Based on available biographical information, Charles Simonyi, the Hungarian-American software architect and space tourist, has not publicly identified with any specified religion or expressed public religious views. His background, okay, Background is characterized by a comfortable childhood in Budapest, scientific upbringing by his father, and a career in technology. There was a large Jewish population within Hungary. I know Rothschilds had a bank in Vienna. Is that Hungary? I could be wrong. I know the Rothschild fact, but my geographical knowledge is slipping a little bit. I'm tired. Been doing this too long. Lisa Simoni. Look how young she is in comparison. Money is a chair of the UW Foundation Board, and Charles Simoni is a technical fellow. Okay. Jeff Skoll. Canadian engineer, billionaire, internet entrepreneur, and film producer. Jeff Skoll was born to a Jewish family in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. His mother was a teacher and his father was a chemical company owner who sold industrial chemicals. The family settled in Toronto in the late 70s. When Skoll was 14, his father was diagnosed with cancer, which prompted him to discuss his sons. Now, how much he regretted not having had. Okay, I don't give a damn now. I gotta speed this up because I need to go to sleep. And Wokiki. Anne Wokiki is an American entrepreneur who co-founded the personal genomics company 23andMe. That's very fascinating. Polish-born physics professor, early life and education. Wokiki was born in Palo Alto, California, the youngest of three sisters. Susan Wokiki, former CEO of YouTube, and Janet Wokiki, an anthropologist and an epidemiologist. Her parents are Esther Wokiki, Nia Hodgman, an educator and journalist, and Stanley Wokiki, a Polish-born physics professor emeritus at Stanford University. The three sisters grew up on Stanford's campus. When she was 14, she learned how to figure skate and later, okay, blah, 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 blah. I don't give a damn. Nah, I don't give a damn. Esther is. And Wokiki, the CEO of 23andMe, was born to a Jewish family and a Polish Catholic father. While she is culturally Jewish, and her mother, Esther Wokiki, has been described as the Jewish mother of the tech revolution and has been characterized as non-religious, though she has Jewish heritage. Paul Allen. So I kind of need to go to bed. So I'm just going to look at these guys. Peter and Mabe Gabriel. Peter Gabriel? I know who it's going to look up. English singer, songwriter, musician, human rights activist. See, it's so weird to me that my boy Peter Gabriel was invited to this dinner. Like, it's absolutely actually bizarre to me. Marissa Mayer and Zach Bogu. Yahoo. Zach Bogu, that's what it was, right? Managing partner, co-managing partner of Data Collective. Has over a dozen experience in Silicon Valley as an entrepreneur, lawyer, angel investor, and advisor for the big data startups. Zach is a co-founder of DCVC and co-managing partner across its family of funds and his current investment on behalf of the firm span. Okay, computational drug. Marissa Mayer, Elon, and Tallulah Musk. I want to look up Tallulah. English actress, she would have been Pride and Prejudice. Saint Tyrion's has expressed a personal connection to Christianity, particularly appreciating its traditions and rituals such as attending local church. Pierre and Pam Omidyar. Iranian-American entrepreneur and former chairperson of eBay. Dude, this was a high-status dinner. I'm gonna do Evan Williams. What, like the alcohol? American internet entrepreneur, best known for co-founder of Twitter. There you go. EFTA 019297776. If you were curious. I'm out of here. I gotta go to bed. Apologies. It's 12:03 a.m. It's actually April 11th.